Welcome, my dear student. The topic that I'm going to discuss is on the meaning and nature of educational psychology. Educational psychology is the term coined by combining two words, education and psychology. Understanding each of these two words first is important for clearer understanding of the concept of educational psychology. First, let us try to understand the meaning of education. Education is a continuous process of all-round development or improvement of an individual in all spheres of life: body, mind, spirit, emotion, social, and so on and so forth. This can be diagrammatically represented as it is shown in the screen. Now, coming to the meaning of psychology. Etymologically, the word psychology has been derived from two Greek words, psyche and logos. Psyche means soul, and logos means science. Thus, psychology was first defined as the science of soul or the study of soul. Now let us try to understand the evolution of the meaning of psychology. As I have already explained, it was first understood as the science of soul. The first crucial question arises with this concept of psychology as the science of soul is, what is soul? How does soul look like? Does soul has any shape, color, character, or is soul like this? Or does soul look like this or like this? However, no concrete answer was found by any psychologist. The basic reason was that soul cannot be seen, observed, or touched. In other words, soul cannot be scientifically tested. That's why the first concept of psychology as science of soul has been rejected. Then psychology was considered as the science of mind. Similarly, an important question arises: what is mind? What is the nature and function of mind? All these questions lead to an ambiguousness of the concept called mind as the science as psychology. It creates a lot of confusion. So the concept of psychology as a science of mind was again rejected. Then it was considered to be the science of consciousness. Consciousness, it means awareness. Awareness in simple term means having knowledge or perception of a situation or facts. Now, when we say consciousness, we cannot isolate consciousness with subconsciousness. At the same time, unconsciousness. So, psychology as a science of consciousness does not explain the relationship between consciousness, subconsciousness, and unconsciousness. And that was the reason why it was rejected again. Then ultimately, psychologists came up with a generally acceptable, concrete meaning of psychology, and till today it has been understood as the science of behavior or the study of behavior. Now, when we say behavior, what does it include? It includes all the activities done by human being. Now, activities may be overt or covert. At this juncture, the behavior of an individual, of a human being, can be observed systematically, and it can be also measured scientifically. And therefore, psychology is understood as the science of behavior till today. When we say overt behavior, we mean your body movement, you walking, running, sitting, smiling, all this are overt behavior which can be seen, behavior which can be seen, observed, and even measured. Behavior inside the classroom. Behavior of different individuals inside the classroom can also be measured in the park, in a campus, in any social gathering or any place. Behavior can be measured or observed. Now, when we say covert, what does it include? The experience, the feeling that you have, the reasoning that takes place, which lead to certain overt behavior, is also considered to be part of behavior. And that's why every dimension of behavior, either overt or covert, are observable, measurable, and can be scientifically tested. And that's why the meaning of psychology till today is understood as the science of behavior, the study of behavior. Let's see some few definitions. Two definitions. One given by B.F. Skinner, a well-known psychologist. According to him, psychology is the science of behavior and experience of human being. Another, Crow and Crow, according to them, psychology is the study of human behavior and human relationship. Now, keeping that in mind, meaning of education and the meaning of psychology, let's try to synthesize those two different concepts and try to understand the whole concept when combined together gives a new concept called educational psychology. What is educational psychology? Let's see. Like science, there are many branches. Now let us try to understand the meaning of educational psychology. The term itself explains itself. Firstly, educational psychology is the branch of psychology, one of the branches of psychology. Like in science, there are which has numerous branches: physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, and so on and so forth. Psychology also has numerous branches, which are shown in the screen, and educational psychology is one of them. Educational psychology, secondly, is the application of knowledge and principles of psychology in the field of education for achieving educational goals efficiently. Thirdly, educational psychology means the study of human behavior in the educational settings. Now let us try to see the definitions of educational psychology. According to Charles E. Skinner, educational psychology deals with behavior of human beings in educational situations. Here he emphasizes two main references: human behavior and education. According to Peel, educational psychology is the science of education. According to Peel, educational psychology aims to produce desirable change in the student for all-round development of his or her personality. Now we can conclude that educational psychology deals with understanding the process of teaching and learning which takes place within the formal educational environment. It also aims for developing ways and means of improving those methods. To understand the meaning or concept of educational psychology better, Let us try to explain the nature of educational psychology. Number one, educational psychology is considered as a science. It is considered as a science because educational psychology follows systematic procedure of study human behavior. It has objective method for collecting data about human behavior, and also now let us try to understand the meaning of educational psychology. The term itself explains itself. Firstly, educational psychology is the branch of psychology, one of the branches of psychology. Like in science, there are numerous, which has numerous branches: physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, and so on and so forth. Psychology also has numerous branches, which are shown in the screen, and educational psychology is one of them. Educational psychology, secondly, is the application of knowledge and principles of psychology in the field of education for achieving educational goals efficiently. Thirdly, educational psychology means the study of human behavior in the educational settings. Now let us try to see the definitions of educational psychology. According to Charles E. Skinner, educational psychology deals with behavior of human beings in educational situations. Here he emphasizes two main references: human behavior and education. According to Peel, educational psychology is the science of education. According to Peel, educational psychology aims to produce desirable change in the student for all-round development of his or her personality. Now we can conclude that educational psychology deals with understanding the process of teaching and learning which takes place within the formal educational environment. It also aims for developing ways and means of improving those methods. Now let us explain the nature of educational psychology. Number one, educational psychology is science, pure science, like pure science, because it has psychology. Educational psychology has an objective method for collecting data about human behavior. Secondly, educational psychology is also considered as a natural science. Like physics and biology, educational psychology also studies human behavior or investigate human behavior, collect data, and draw conclusion in its natural setting. Thirdly, educational psychology is also considered as a social science, like sociology, anthropology, economics, or political science, and so on and so forth. Because, like those subjects which I have just mentioned, educational psychology studies human being in the social setting. Fourthly, educational psychology is also considered as a positive science because educational psychology can explain the cause and effect relationship of human behavior. Why a particular student or human being behave in a certain circumstance in a certain way. It can be explained by educational psychology, and that's why educational psychology is considered as a positive science. At the same time, educational psychology does not only study the cause-effect relationship, but it studies the child's behavior as it is in the natural form. It doesn't uh, assume what it should be, what it ought to be. So educational psychology is a positive science. Then fifth point, educational psychology is an applied science. As I've already explained in the earlier slides, that educational psychology is one branch of psychology. There are many branches. Among those branches, educational psychology is an applied psychology, where the knowledge theories of knowledge, theories, principle of psychology are applied in the field of education. Point number 6, educational psychology is also considered as a developing or growing science because human behavior, either of children, adult, adolescent, keeps on changing or evolving with the passage of time. So through educational psychology, new findings about the human behavior are accumulated, and that gives an insight into the child's or human natures and behavior. That in that way, educational psychology keeps on growing. The point number 7, educational psychology deals with human behavior, not all human behavior, but the behavior of student teacher, not in all circumstance, not in all situation, not in all realms of life, but only in the educational environment or settings. Kelly has given 9-point nature of educational psychology. Number 1, according to him, educational psychology gives the knowledge of the nature of the child. It also gives, number 2, it gives understanding of the nature, aims, and purpose of education. Number 3, it gives understanding of scientific methods and procedure which have been used in arriving at the facts and principles of educational psychology. It also presents the principle and techniques of learning and teaching. Educational psychology also gives training in methods of measuring abilities and achievement in school subjects. Educational psychology also gives a knowledge of the growth and development of children. It also assists the student or the children in adjusting their behavior and preventing maladjustment. Educational psychology study the educational significance and control of emotion. And finally, educational psychology give an understanding of the principle and techniques of correct training. Finally, now we can sum up the meaning of educational psychology. Educational psychology is nothing but it is the application of psychological principles in the study of human behavior, which includes student and teacher, within the educational environment with the purpose of bringing out desirable holistic improvement in the student's personality. That's all for today. Thank you.